everyone, welcome to my channel Creatively Expressive. Today I'm sharing some Easter and spring decor DIYs. If you enjoyed today's video, please be sure to give it a thumbs up and leave me a bunny emoji in the comment section below. Now let's get started. For project number 1, I will be making over this ceramic bunny that I found at Goodwill. The first thing I am going to do is paint the bunny with the color Cafe Noir. I am painting large sections of the bunny with this color, but I am going to leave small sections of the bunny unpainted for now. Now I'm taking this color Patina by Folk Art and I am going to paint the sections that I left unpainted with this color. And I know at this point that the bunny is looking a little crazy, but just stick with me, he won't look crazy for long. Now I'm going to cover the bunny with this Spanish copper rub and buff. The bunny has lots of texture because of his fur, and that is going to work great with the rub and buff. I am going to brush the copper over the raised areas on the fur, but I am not going to push it down into the recessed areas, which will leave just a bit of the original brown and blue colors exposed. And I am going to need to add a bit more of the Spanish copper over the edges of the blue spots so the edges of the blue color are less obvious. And I am going to use a smaller brush to focus in on those areas as well as the areas that are harder to get into with the larger brush. As I get more of the copper on the bunny, you can see that the blue is starting to look like a copper patina, which is the look that I was going for. Now that I have the bunny covered with the copper rub and buff, I am going to buff it out with a buffing cloth to bring out the shine in the copper. And now this project is complete. I am really into the cottagecore aesthetic right now, and I think this is the perfect little cottagecore style bunny. For project number 2, I am starting with this wood cross that I found at Goodwill. I am going to remove the metal plaque from the cross, and it actually came off really easily. I have this wood frame that used to be attached to a sign, but I kind of messed up the sign part attempting to do another project in the past. The frame was still good, so I kept it and asked my husband to cut a scrap piece of wood to fit in the frame. First I am going to paint the scrap piece of wood with the color Moss Green by Waverly. Now I'm going to be painting with 3 colors at once: the moss green, celery green, and ivory. I poured a little of each color out on a paper plate, and I'm going to dip my brush in all 3 colors. Now I'm going to start painting over the sign, and I am painting in a crisscross motion. I'll keep adding the 3 colors to my brush and painting in a crisscross motion until the entire sign is covered with the 3 blended colors. I went to the Silhouette Design store and I purchased a Crown of Thorns SVG and I cut it out on stencil vinyl. I'm going to stick the stencil to the cross and then cut away the parts of the stencil that don't touch the cross. Now I'm going to peel up my transfer tape. This is a pain in the butt because the stencil vinyl doesn't stick very well. Now I'm placing the frame on the sign, and then I'm going to stick a second crown of thorns stencil to the sign. Now I'm going to use the color Snow White to paint over both stencils. I'm tapping off excess paint from my foam brush before painting over the stencil to add a light layer of paint to try to prevent it from bleeding under the stencil. Then I will slowly build up the paint until I'm happy with the coverage. I got the stencil on the sign painted, and I'm going to peel up the main piece before the paint is fully dry. As you can see, the stencil is peeling up from the cross, so I need to press it back down and then paint over it really quickly before it starts to peel up again. If you know of a good vinyl to use for stenciling, please let me know in the comments section below. So now I am painting over the stencil on the cross. And I made a mistake here, and I didn't realize it until the next day. Let me know if you see it. Now that I have the crown stenciled on both the cross and the sign, I will glue the cross to the sign, making sure that both crowns match up together. And I am using STARBOND super glue to glue the cross to the sign. Next, I measured the area below and to the right of the cross, and then I went to my silhouette design space and designed a decal to fit in that space. I cut out the wording on stencil vinyl, and then I stuck the stencil to the sign. Then I painted over the stencil with Snow White chalk paint. Now for what I thought was my final step, I glued the frame to the sign with STARBOND super glue. I had this hanging on my wall, and the next morning I realized the mistake I made. I shouldn't have stenciled the crown on the top part of the cross because I didn't want it to look like it was sitting flat on top of the cross, but instead encircling the cross. So to fix that, I got a damp sponge and I scrubbed the paint off at the top of the cross. This took the white paint off, but it also took some of the dark finish off. To make it look more even, I scrubbed some of the dark finish off of the bottom cross and just a bit off of both sides. Then I decided to refinish those areas with antique finishing wax. And I am being very careful not to get any of it on my finished sign. Then I wipe off some of the excess wax with a baby wipe. I got a little of the wax on the white crown when wiping it with the baby wipe, so then I decided to cut another crown stencil, apply it over top of the crown on the cross, and then paint over it again with the white paint. This way the white on the cross matched the white on the sign. And now that I have done that, this project is complete. I'm so glad I fixed the crown because I just love how it has a 3D effect to it. And I'm actually kind of glad that I made the mistake because I like the way the stained look on the cross looks now better than it did on the original cross. For project number 3, I'm making over these little paint your own bunnies that I got from Dollar Tree a few years ago. The The first thing I'm going to do is paint them with the color Cashew by Waverly. Then I'm going to mix the color Snow White with a bit of baking soda to thicken it up. Now I'm going to stipple that thickened up white paint on the bunnies. First I start using a small thick bristle paintbrush. Then I tried using a slightly larger thick bristle paintbrush. Then I decided to try using an old toothbrush, and I like that the best. But I also use the stiff bristle paintbrush in the areas that are harder to get to with the toothbrush. And I'll continue stippling on the white paint, leaving some of the cashew paint exposed. After the white paint is dry, I'm going to use some antique wax to add some shading to the bunnies. I'm using very little wax and blending it out over areas on the bunny like the face, eyes, feet, and tail. I didn't like how much contrast there is between the white paint and the antique wax, so then I decided to try blending out the antique wax some with some white finishing wax. This lightened up the antique wax and also added a slightly yellow aged look to the white paint, which I like. Then I wanted to add just a bit more of the antique wax back to some of the areas on the bunny that I had before, but not all. I darkened up just the bunny's nose, and then I darkened up some of his ears, feet, and tail. Once I have lightened up all of the bunnies with the white wax, this project is complete. For project number 4, I'm going to be using these carrot candy containers from the Dollar Tree. The first thing I'm going to do is paint the carrots with the color pumpkin chalk paint. Now I'm going to use this olive green felt that I got from Hobby Lobby. I am marking the felt with a fabric marker at 1/2 inch. Then I am going to cut a 1/2 inch wide strip. Then I am going to make cuts down the length of the strip, making sure not to cut all the way through. I am going to put a small dot of hot glue at one end of the felt and then start rolling the felt. I will continue to add glue to the bottom of the strip of felt and then roll it up. When I get to the end of the strip of felt, I will add a second strip of cut felt. And I will continue adding felt to the roll until the roll is just slightly fatter than the top of the green area on the carrot. Now I am bending the roll a bit to flare out the carrot leaves. Then I am going to hot glue the felt roll to the top of the carrot. Now I'm going to cut a strip of felt that is 1 1/8 inch thick. Then I'll make cuts along the length of the strip. Then I am going to hot glue this strip to the base of the greenery on the carrot. And I am going to hot glue it to the top of the greenery where it meets up with the roll of felt as well. Once I have wrapped the felt once around the greenery, I'm going to start wrapping it around a second time. And when I find spots where I can see the bright green plastic exposed, I will add a tiny dot of glue and press the felt to it to hide the bright green plastic. I am going to continue wrapping and gluing the strip of felt around the carrot until I get to the end of the strip of felt. And whenever I see a spot of bright green exposed, I will be sure to glue a piece of green felt to it. Now I'm going to mix some of the pumpkin orange paint with the color cashew paint, and then some of it with the color brown oxide. Then I use a fine detailed paintbrush to paint stripes of the lighter orange color and stripes of the darker orange color on the carrot. I found these brown terracotta pots at Ace Hardware and I thought they would be perfect to go with these carrots. Now I'm going to cut down a piece of floral foam to fit in the pots. Then I am going to press the carrot into the center of the foam and hot glue the carrot to the floral foam. Now for the final step, I will hot glue some moss to the pot around the carrot to cover up the foam. And this project is complete. Alright guys, that's it for today's video. I hope you enjoyed it and I hope it was helpful to you. If you liked today's video, some easy and completely free ways to help support my channel and help it grow are to subscribe if you haven't already, give me a thumbs up, leave me a quick comment or even just an emoji, and share this video with anyone you think might enjoy it. I truly appreciate your support and I hope you guys have a great day, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye!